I think we're done with the magazine then. So I suggest that we move on to the presentation that didn't get done this morning, the presentation from the Danish Association about what's been going on in Denmark for the last year.
Yeah, we can start with that. Is it possible to share screen, or we found out we couldn't do that?
We can. We just have to make you co-host.
Okay. Because maybe it would be nice you don't just look at me, but you can see some pictures from it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
That should be
Now you're co-host.
accessible.
So I will try to share my screen. Here we are. Yeah. So okay, I don't know if you guys can see or if it's just coming.
It's just coming now. Yes. It just started. There we go.
Great. Yeah, so I'm a little bit flustered because I was expecting that this was done already this morning. So I apologize. By way of the association that we weren't there to do it. And I'll start now. So here we are, 2020 in Permaculture Denmark. And the picture you can see, that's from the Nordic meeting 2020. I wrote that we had a great time, even if it was a bit chilly. I don't know how many of you were there, but it was February, of course, this time last year. And we were in a place called Magtværket, which is like a big building collective. So they have this 10,000 square meters of building, and we just were in the big hall where they have like a mass oven to keep us warm. But there was this nice picture from the Nordic meeting of that year. And we saw the member numbers going up. And it's been doing that for the last many years. I think every time I've been in the board the last 4 years, so every time I've made this slideshow, then it's gone up every time. Here we went from 822 members to 966, but actually I think we gained about 300 members, but there was about 150 that also went out of the association. So I think we'd be seeing much bigger jumps in our members if we were managing to hold on to as many as possible as well.
Lou, could you share what's it called, slides?
Yeah, I can go into the slide. Where are we? Now I can't find the button.
It's usually F5 or under view.
Yeah. Present. Yeah.
There we go.
And maybe you guys, if you have a question, you can just jump in and stop me on the slide that you have the question about. If something pops up, otherwise I'll give you a little bit of time at the end to ask something as well. We had our General Assembly, that was also February the 29th. So we held our General Assembly just before the Corona restrictions came in actually. So we were pretty lucky in that way. We managed to hold our General Assembly and be together. We didn't actually have any problems doing that, so we could get the new board in and get the year started. And here we cooperated with a charity called Mellemfolkelig Samvirke. So we held our meeting in their meeting rooms in Copenhagen. There was about, I think we were about 60, 70 people who were there. And apart from electing the board and presenting our budget and those kind of usual things, we also had Carolina and Tycho came and made a presentation about, it was about a sustainable, like truly sustainable and regenerative a way to produce food. So they had a concrete example of how many hectares of this and how many hectares and what crops they would use. So they made a very nice practical example that was very easy for everybody to understand. What are we actually talking about if we're going to provide food for ourselves and have a system that's regenerative? PDC courses in Denmark, I asked for sending in the PDC courses that were held. There was 2 on Freeland. They were managed to be held despite the restrictions. We kind of in Denmark had this opening up over summer. So they were pushed, one of them was just pushed, and then they were closer to each other. And then when everything opened up, they could do the PDC courses. So there was a total of 62 certificates awarded that, here, both at Freeland and at a place called Køge Fællesjord and Aarhus, there where Katrina lives. And we had actually some PDCs planned with some teachers from Britain because we wanted a little bit extra capacity. All the PDC courses are full, and yeah, it's great to have these very competent diploma holders coming from England, where we can also have PDC holders working together with them on the courses and gaining a bit of experience about how do they hold these PDCs when they're ready with their diploma. But the ones with the British teachers were cancelled in the end because of Corona restrictions. And we had the land gathering was cancelled also because of the Corona restrictions. So we're hoping that we're going to hold it in the summer so that it comes around a little bit faster than coming. Usually it's in the autumn, and the land centres are there presenting everything that they're doing. And it's always a very exciting, inspiring gathering to see these different presentations from the different land centres and such diversity in what they're doing. And so this is, and we have a new land coordinator. She's called Rikke Lokhavi, and she lives in the south of Jutland. And she's working actually also in the, we call it the byråd, like the city council. And so somebody both in the city council and a land coordinator. And she's, you can see all these pictures with her with all her apples. She's looking at all the old sorts of apples. And I think you can also find her if you Google her and her project with the apples. There's some nice videos about it on YouTube. Was there a question? The land centres, though, we saw actually 3 land centres closed this year in Denmark. It was 2 land centres on Samsø were closed and 1 on Ærø. And I didn't actually hear from all of them about why, but at least one of them on Samsø, that was because they wanted to move house, so it ended up being sold. Yeah, and I think I'd kind of like to hear from the others to find out, well, what is it that is ending up, the land centres are closing. We had one close in Copenhagen not so long ago, and that was because of the municipality and the communication with the municipality. They couldn't find volunteers to run it after the kind of core group went out, and we didn't have a PDC holder on it either. So yeah, a bit interesting why they're going down. So we lost 3, but we have around 6 new candidates in the pipelines to become land centres. And they're small places, big places, bed and breakfasts, and teaching centres. And there's quite a diversity now in the kinds of places that are applying to become a land starter. So that's nice to see. We started something new this year because the last few years, every time we come to our General Assembly, we show our budget and we show that actually we ended up earning some money, that we saved some money and we didn't spend over. And it means that we just kind of thought, why do we have this money on the bank? And I think in a big way it's because we didn't know exactly how to prioritize. How do you choose what to do with the money? Because you can choose one thing, but somebody else is left out. But we wanted to do something that would benefit our members and something that fitted with our our plan and our overall vision, which is spreading permaculture and about education and dissemination. So we started a kind of fund where you can apply to the Permaculture Association for a grant. And we just started this in the very end of the year, so it's kind of a test. And with the new year, we're going to be opening it up much more and telling more about it, about the opportunities for doing it. We just started with a few applications to try it out and make sure that it worked. And we have like a whole list of criteria about what it's about. It's about regenerative projects, these systems. It has to be involved in permaculture. It should be on a land center or a place with a permaculture project, but it could also be something that's held at like a community center or something that's very open. We're going to put aside 50,000 crowns a year, at least in the beginning, until we maybe decide to change it. And that means maximum 10,000 crowns per application. And we can give them up to 50% of their budget. So the money goes, if you want to hold a course, then you can pay your teachers, you can cover food, you can cover the usage of the participants, you can make a course that's cheaper for people to come to, or you can create some opportunities somewhere where there wasn't any before. One of the things we ended up, because the IPC was cancelled and we still held PDC courses, every time we hold a PDC course, for every student on that course, they give a donation. And usually it goes to that somebody can go to the IPC and join in where we basically pay. But because there's no IPC, we needed to find something new to do with that money as well. So we ended up, one of the previous board members has been working in Kenya, so she knew some groups of people, and this Stephen, who's in the picture at the bottom, who wanted to go on this advanced permaculture design course. So we sent him on this course, and we've also supported a project of his. After he went on the course, he got very inspired, and he wanted to make a course for women in the slums in Kenya where he lived, to teach them how to grow their own food and look after chickens and kind of start to provide for themselves. On these places where it's just tarmac and gravel, how to grow in old concrete bags and whatever he could find. And we supported that, so we couldn't give them all the money, but we could give them 6,000 crowns. So hopefully it was to start the project with a few women and test the course, 5 weeks of training and 3 months of follow-up to see how they're doing. Otherwise, it's our land centers who can apply, and I wasn't there to the meetings where they've been given out, but I think there's 3 different land centers that have applied for the funding and got it as well. So it's great that actually some of the money that we've been saving, we've been asking for funds through the culture ministry, and we have actually some money to do some good with. And then we had our Erasmus Plus, the further education and mobilities for our permaculture teachers. Again, with Corona, there's been a lot of the things that were cancelled, but we managed to send 4 teachers to the diploma gathering in England, which was Kurt and Aya and Mariana and Katrina. And they just, got through and were in England and came back in the very start of the year, and then Corona came, so we ended up the mobilities didn't get used, but we were able to move them over to when it's possible to use them again. So we have some money in the project budget for that as well. The grant from the Culture Ministry came through. We got almost 50,000 crowns. Some of you probably already know about it from our previous meetings where we've told about it, but we get this money every year, which covers our maintenance of the association, administration costs for the previous year. And we get the money because we hold events that are open to everybody, and that it's not about profit. that we're holding something that's open to everybody that has this dissemination point about it. They're just happy that we're creating events, and it has to be in 3 different regions in Denmark over the year. So it'll be a bit exciting if we can get it next year. Because of Corona, we ended up cancelling a lot of our events. So we've actually only held 2 events that have been open to everybody in 2 different regions. So it's not sure that we'll get it next year. There's something quick about our dissemination. We had our newsletter that goes out to the members' emails. We did it in January and April and May. And then we basically stopped and we just started using the homepage as our communication. And it was a lot again because of Corona. It was very difficult to find out what courses are actually going to go through, which ones are going to get cancelled. So it was easier to hold the homepage up to date than send something out that might change. And actually this year we're going to go away from the newsletter and probably not going to give them out. We're going to focus on building a new homepage, something that's more modern, that works better, that's more user-friendly and more interactive. So we're going to go away from our newsletters in 2021 and go towards our homepage. And we have Facebook, we have Instagram. We've 5,000 followers on Facebook, and that's 2,000 more that are come in the run of 2020. In 2019, there was also 2,000 more than in 2018. So I think it's quite clear to see that these are our medias that are getting out to the most people, and they're going to be more and more important. And we think the newsletter is going to be less and less important. Yeah, this is about our website. We had 74,000 views in 2020, and that's actually less than in 2019. We can't say for sure why this is, but yeah, it might be something to do with the situation. We've been seeing it going up, and then suddenly it starts going down. So, but it could also just be that people are more using Facebook, and maybe we're not linking to our homepage so much from Facebook. We're linking to other people's homepages. So we're going to move. I think also it will help when we get a better website that looks a bit more modern and is a bit easier to find our way around. On our website, we have this teachers register, and now there's 19 registered permaculture teachers in Denmark. The ways we usually ask if you're going to get an Erasmus Plus mobility that you register yourself as a teacher. And that's one good way for us to make sure that the teachers are coming on there, and we hope it gives some clarity about what the teachers have for qualifications and where you can find them. Local network, we haven't had so much contact with our local networks in Denmark, but we heard from a newly started Copenhagen-based permaculture network, and that's for people living in detached houses with very small plots of land in the suburbs. And they mentioned that they were absolutely overrun with people who wanted to join, and they had to kind of turn people away because they wanted a network of core group that actually met together and knew each other. And so I think there's a lot more potential for local networks, especially in Copenhagen. That might be it. Yeah, that was the end. So that's what's been going on for us this year. And I'd like to invite questions if anybody's got anything they want to ask.
I have a question to you, and also to Norway and Finland. When you have a PDC course, what connection do you make to become a member? Do you make the participants automatically a member, or how did I notice in Sweden that we have many people who attend PDC courses and they get their diploma, but they are not members. They don't become members in the association. And I wonder a little why.
Yeah, we normally, I can't speak for all the teachers, but right now it's just been Carolina and Katrina and Tycho and Mariana who've held the PDC courses. And within their courses, then it's a part of the courses that they pay for a membership in their course fee, and then they're added as a member automatically.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually,
I can speak from Norway.
Yeah.
That there's only really 3 people here who do PDCs, who teach PDCs. In all my courses, I put it into the budget that they automatically get a membership for the next year. But not all the teachers do that here.
Oh. I think we have to start that in Sweden again. We had it a couple of years ago or some years ago, but it has kind of fallen out in nothing. And I think it would be very worth it because we need more people also. We do need a lot of people doing permaculture, but we also need a strong organization with many members. Thank you.
Can I just add to that? Can I just add to that, please? In Norway, and I think you have the same in Denmark and Sweden, we have an adult education budget that is released through something which we call Studieforbundet. And we get something like about between 3,000 and 5,000 kroner per PDC course as support from the government. And that goes to cover the cost of making memberships for all the participants.
But in our course together with Elena and Håkon Mela, also when the student pay for the course, go direct to the association.
Okay. We don't have quite that system in Sweden, but it's different from country to country.
Yeah, every mentor, teacher decide what to make.
Thanks for more inspiration again.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
I'm interested in your register list of permaculture teachers. Is that people who just teach permaculture generally, or is that PDC teachers?
Yeah, it's actually, it is both. On our website, you go to education, and then we have this tab which is called registered teachers. And in the top, it says teachers with a diploma. So it's the teachers who have the diploma and who can teach in the complete PDC course. And then further down, it says teachers with PDC certificate. And so it's all the teachers who have a PDC course and who can teach on a PDC course under supervision of a diploma holder or under these intro courses and everything imaginable courses. So there's a place where they can put their profile, they send their profile to us and we set it up. And there's links to their qualifications as well. So as a student, you can go in and you can see their certificates and qualifications and know that they are who they say they are, and that picture is of them. And,
Great, thanks so much.
cool.
Very good. So are we then getting to the end of the point of the presentation from the Danish Association? Does anybody have any more sort of question or thing they want to say before we move on? Nope. Then let's see what's next on the schedule. Next on the schedule is a presentation of the work group working to set up the summer meeting, the summer face-to-face meeting